Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can run and access an application which is running on localhost. So normally when you build your application and you are testing it, most of the time the application would run under localhost. And localhost, in case you do not know, it's accessible only to that computer or that network that you are in. If you want to access it from, let's say, your phone, your mobile phone, you'll need to do some kind of networking like IP address, maybe get a public IP address or even like a public URL. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can access it very easily with, I think, 2 or 3 lines of code extra, and it's very easy to set up. You will be able to use it in Google Colab, and I will also show you how to use it using an online service in case you need to access their GPUs. Okay, so here I have a very simple example. I'm just doing a Flask demo application that says hello world, and I'm importing Flask, getting the Flask application, just a simple route here, and then I'm running the application on localhost port 8000. So right now this is on my local computer. I can save it, go into the terminal, and I've created a virtual environment. I will need to install Flask. So I can do python-m pip install Flask. Now, of course, if your application is using Gradio or any other libraries, you'll need to do those steps. That should be quite obvious. To run the application for Flask, at least I'll need to do Python and then the file name. And in the terminal, it will give me a link. So this 127.0.0.1 is basically localhost. And then we have the port 8000. So if I click on it, it opens. I have hello world here. So now I'm going to copy this code. I will go to Google Colab. Now at this point, you will do all of your setups. Like if you need to add additional files, you'll add your files here and basically get your application in Google Colab. My application is simply this 7-8 lines. So I'm going to copy it. I will also need to add the pip install line. So pip install Flask. And if I leave everything as is and just click on the run button, it will run. It will tell me that it is running on, and then I have a link. I can click on the link, opens, and tell me that the page cannot be reached. Again, the second link as well will do the same thing. All right, this one is not even opening. What we'll need to do is to make some kind of connection between this local host that's running on Google server, probably a container, and we need to access it from a public URL. And to do so, we'll use this service here. I believe it's ngrok, not sure. But you can go to this page, just sign up, and you will get an account. I already have an account, so I'm going to sign in. Once you've signed in, you will land up in a page something like this. It will tell you how to install it locally, but we don't need to install it locally right now. Instead, go on the left side, there should be a menu, and then click on Auth Token, and at the top you will see there is a personal token. Now, if you don't see it, if it asks you to create a token, create it first, and then you will get your token. We'll need this token for authentication. So let's go back to Google Colab, and I'll tell you what you need to add to your project, regardless of the project. So if this is your project, or your project is multiple files, or if it's a Gradio application, a Django application, all of that should work. Now just create a new cell, and in Google Colab, at least we'll need to type in the requirements directly here so that we can install it. So for this one, we'll just say pip install and then py. This stands for Python, then ngrok. Now once it's installed, you can import it by saying from py ngrok import ngrok. And then you can create a public URL by simply doing ngrok.connect and then the port that you want to access. So in this particular case, the port is 8000. So I'm typing 8000 here. But let's say your port was 7624. You would type 7624 there. And where it says .connect, you will type in the same port number. Now, let me execute this one. And once you execute it, it will tell you that authentication failed here. So we'll need to go back to the dashboard, copy the authentication key. Now, for me, I'm going to show you my key, but if you are running this on a server, you probably need to save it as like a .env file, and then make sure that nobody gets access to it. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to show you my key. Again, for a real project, online service, do not show your key. So this is how it looks. And to use it, you'll need to add this line here. So we are just setting the auth token as your auth token here. So you will replace this with this. In my case, I'm just going to replace it with auth token like this. Let's run this one. Okay, run successfully. So I'm going to go back up, and I think I can move this cell. Yes. So I'm going to move this cell all the way down. This is the one that's basically running the application. Now, before this, I think I'm going to print out the public URL. So in here, I'm creating a variable public URL, and right here, I'm printing it so that I can access it. Maybe you can add a note here. Let's do an F string like this. This way, when it shows below, we'll know that the public URL is this, and then this here is from the application. So it's still, we are running the application on the local host, but you can see here ngrok is creating a tunnel, and it's simply mapping the local host and with this particular port to this public URL. So if I click on this public URL now, it tells me that I'm about to visit this link. Since I know that this is my own application, I can click on visit site. But if somebody else gives you a link, make sure that you're trusting that link first. Okay, so once I click on it, you can see this, the application is running on this public address, and I have the application here, hello world. And the only section that we've added to the application is basically this 4 lines here. Like if you cut this and you paste it here, it's only 3 lines. So only 3 extra lines. This line here, like I said, you can create a new file here, copy and paste that in that new file, and then import it into your application so that it's not visible directly in the code. Now let's do one more example using Gradio, because Gradio is kind of interactive. So I'm going to disconnect and restart the runtime. Create a new cell. I will need to install Gradio. This will be pip install Gradio. And then create a new cell and just type in the Gradio code. I'm going to copy a demo from the website. Okay, so this is just one that says hello world. And for now, just to demonstrate what's happening, I'm going to say share equals to false. Okay, it's done installing Gradio. Let's run this one. Okay, so for Gradio, basically Gradio will give you a public URL that will work for 72 hours, I think. But right now we have it share equals to false, which means that we are only running it under localhost. So if we click on the link, of course, it doesn't open. Let's add the same thing. So I'm going to copy this. And just before you're launching your application, that's probably where you want to have this. Now for Gradio, it's running on 7660. So I'm going to change the port to 60. And then just run this cell. Now, same thing. I'm still running the Gradio application with share equals to false. Okay, I forgot to print the public URL. Let's do a simple print. All right, so you can see again, we have a tunnel here that's connecting the local host with this public URL. So I'm going to access it. Once again, it's going to tell me to click on the visit site, and you can see it's actually loading the Gradio application. So if I type in test, submit, I should see hello test here. I should be able to interact with it further. Let's just put my name, and there you go. It's running. Now I'm going to attempt to do the same thing on this GPU rental service. And previously I've used this service to test out Comfy UI, but there was a template that was already doing all of that for me. And at the end, I would just get a public URL. So I'm going to use the same method from this Google Colab here. By the way, I will share this Google Colab with you. Of course, I'm going to change my authentication code after I finish recording it, but you just need to replace this section with yours. All right, so I've already signed in, and for Comfy UI, it's kind of pointless to use this method because inside of Vast.ai, there's already a template. It's basically Comfy UI and it's already up to date. And this is the template here. You can click on template and just search for Comfy UI and you should get it. All right, so once you have the template, I will use the template, and instead of using it for Comfy UI, I'll just show you how you can use it for stable, the other one, Forge. Since, as you can see here, if I search for stable diffusion Forge, we do not have one for Forge, I think. Or at least at the time of recording, there's not a template for it. So let's just search for the Comfy UI, select that one. This just ensure that we have the CUDA installed, we have all of the PyTorch, the Torch Vision, and Torch libraries installed. Now, I'm now going to show you how to select the best GPU for the price, or the best internet connection for the price, because for this one, I think you have to pay for the internet connection as well. For this one, for example, it says here internet 0.067, but for this one, it says $0 for upload. Anyways, you will have to research what is the best GPU. I'm not going to do any kind of generation right now or image generation. Instead, I'm just going to show you how you can run any project which normally would run under the local host from an online service. So I'm just going to pick the cheapest one. And it says on demand here. I think you can also go interruptible or reserve. So just do your research. All right, so right now it's creating the environment. From my previous testing, it usually take around 5 to 10 minutes. So I'll see you next. Okay, so I think this one, it's done. I'm going to click on open. Okay, so instead of going to Comfy UI here, so instead let's just go to stable diffusion Forge and let's look for the installation. Okay, so here it tells us to do this. We just need to git clone it. Now I'm going to go into Jupyter Notebook here. Now if you're doing this from a different service like RunPod, you'll need to access the terminal. I see Comfy UI here, but we're not going to use the Comfy UI. By the way, if you have your own version of Comfy UI, you can do the same thing. I told us to do git clone and then a link. And right now I'm just using Stable Diffusion Web UI Forge as an example. Most of you would probably have your own custom personal project that you would need to upload instead of doing git clone, unless you have it already on GitHub as a public URL. Okay, so cd inside of the folder, and then it told us to run a web UI setup. Let me check. So webui.bat, which is this one here. Let me see what's inside that batch file, because obviously we cannot run a batch file there. All right, so installing the requirements of that, and to run it, we have to do python launch.py, which is this one here. So we have the requirements here. We'll do pip install -r, and then install the requirements. It's completed. So I'm doing python launch.py. Okay, so here we can see that it was able to install a stable Diffusion Forge, but it gave us a local URL. And if I click on this local URL, obviously it's not going to work. Now we just need to note that this is the port. I think it's the default Gradio port. So let me exit out of this one. Next, I just need to find this launch.py. Can I edit? Yes. So somewhere in this code, I'll need to add this. I'm just going to add it here. That's correct. We'll also need to install the library. So let's do pip install by ngrok. Seems good. We have these 4 or 5 lines in here. Save all. Let's double check if it actually saved. Yes. And now again, launch your application. In this case, python space launch.py. All right, so here we already have the tunnel. I'm going to wait for the Forge application to start first before clicking on the link. Oh, I think we don't have any models either. So let's see if we can access the application first. All right, it seems to be working. And this is the stable Diffusion Forge. It's the I think it's the latest version because we can see Flux here. Okay, so it does say SDXL. It's just the base model. For some reason, I could not download from Civic AI. Let's just say a tree. And yes, so I can access this website from a public URL. Okay, we have a tree. All right, so I'll try to use my tablet to connect to this this application, basically this URL. This is going to be a problem to type, but we'll get through it. So I want to address that I'm not sure how long this URL will be valid. Now, for Gradio, it tells you that it's going to be valid for 72 hours, but for this one, I'm not sure. But it does work. So in case you do not have a Gradio application and you cannot just do that Gradio equals to share, this is one way that you can use in order to get a public URL. And this tablet is using mobile data here, so it's not connected to the same Wi-Fi. All right, I'm not sure how I'll do this. Probably, hopefully it's visible. I have the same page. Okay, so it's loading right now. And I think it's loaded. I will again try to type in something. Now, obviously, when the application was made to be used on a wide screen, on a desktop application, so it doesn't scale well when using it on a small screen, but we'll see. Okay, so I have the application here. I have the positive prompt as a potato, and let me just go into the terminal here. So I'm going to click on this generate button here, and you can see it's actually loading over there, and we have the total progress, and even here on the tablet is showing the progress. And yes, you can see the potato. If I go into the here, this is a different user basically. I'm not sure if both can use the application at the same time, so I'll try to press generate on both and see what happens. Click generate here and generate on the app. All right, so for the application, it's telling waiting, and you can see that after completing the tree, so we have the tree there, it started in the application here for the tablet. So this is something that the application will have to take care in the backend. So basically support having multiple users using the application at once, or maybe just have a queue like Hugging Face will do it, because it's basically GPU heavy intensive task. So it just has a queue there, and just wait until it's your turn to use that GPU. So that was it. Again, to recap, the only thing that we've done here is make sure that you have your authentication token. By the way, let me just reset mine. All right, so I've reset mine. Like I said, I'm going to share this notebook with you so you can study it, but quick recap here. whenever you have an application running on localhost, all you need to do is find out the port. If you are the one writing the application, you can just change the port to something that makes sense and import the library. Have your authentication token ready. I don't know if Vast.ai has any kind of environmental variable or how to set it up on this service, but if you're using a different service and you know how to set it up there, set up your environmental variable, or maybe just have it in a different file and then import it in this, like in your project where you are running the application. Now set the authentication token and then connect to the port depending on your application. And of course, you'll need some way of seeing that this line basically. So in my case, I'm just doing a simple print, but you can also use logging library in Python. That also will work. All right, so that is it for today. Hopefully you got something out of this video, and if you were struggling on like getting your application on a public URL, now hopefully you can. Again, let me repeat myself, I am not an expert on this subject. So if this approach is not the best, let me know in the comments down below. It would actually make me really happy if someone can guide me in this particular topic. Thank you very much for watching until the very end, and I will see you in the next one.